Hello everyone, welcome to another video in the series Skill Combo 101. Today we'll be looking at the Master Aegis combinations and what skills that works best with Master Aegis, and also the immortals that you should put this on. Although it's very simple, but in case you don't know, I want to make you guys know this with this video. Also, you should see on the screen I have put out 3 skills: Malice, Spring of Life, and of course Resist. These 3 skills is very good synergy with Master Aegis because they are basically a very good defensive skills, and it definitely helps out with your team in defense against your heavy magical teams. Resist give resistance against magical damage or magical attack, and then you have Malice resist against, critical damage by mages, because if you have pair them together in your march, I think that would be a very good combo for you to defend your team. Also, Spring of Life, I think that will be very good as well, but Spring of Life you require to have like a healer in your team as well. So with all these 3 skills in your march, I don't think any mages can do huge damage against you, unless of course the power difference is too big. So that being said, I think Master Edge is a very new skill. I've tested it myself for at least 5-6 days now, and I tested this with and without the skill combinations, and I tested it with like only using Master Aegis in my team, and tested against heavy mage team, and it was performing decent. I wouldn't say it's gonna be like very good against the heavy mage teams. So I'm gonna show you guys some reports and what I think, and talk about it later in this video as well. But for now, it's a little bit of introductions and also just talking around the skill, because I don't want to make this video too long, because it's just a skill combo and it's an option for what I think is the best combination with these skills. So now let's take a look at the immortals that I think you should run the skill with. So now let's take a look at the immortals that you can put the skill on. You can only put on a tank or a support, but in my opinion, you should be putting on the tank, because on support you might want to use other skills, like for example, if you are at high end, you want to use life protection, you want to use assist, you want to use, for example, fighting master, right? So you don't have the place for an aura, but if you don't use the kind of like sustainable marches, you can definitely use on the support. But in my opinion, it's better on the tank front line, and in my opinion, the most ideal immortals for this skill in a tank is probably going to be one of these 2 immortals you see on the screen: Bjorn, Ethan Sheen, and then you have Charles, which in my opinion works perfectly in like synergy with this skill, because when the Master Aegis reduce magical damage taken, right, then you have Charles who can give the shield, you have Ethan Shin with a healing from like a support that can give extra 30% damage decrease, and then you have Bjorn as well, where you can have increased resilience so you cannot get crit. And of course it works differently, but if you have very good synergy between them, Master Aegis will be working very good here as well. Of course, you can probably use in like Athena, or using Anubis, but in my opinion, if you're using Anubis and this kind of immortals, right, you don't really need Master Aegis in there, but you can definitely use it there if you want to go for that route as well. Now let's take a look at where we can get the skill. We can get the skill in the recharge pack. It will cost you $140, and the skill has been in the rotation for 2 weeks now. I believe we're gonna have it for 4 more weeks, so you have time, so you don't need to rush. What you would do is, if you can spend $20 every day for 1 week. That's gonna cost you $140. But if you don't want to spend that much, I do suggest you spend like $100 for 1 week, and then you spend another $20 or $40 for next week if you want to do something like that, right? That is possible, but it really depends what kind of, like, if you want to rush it or not. But in my opinion, this skill is not worth rushing. It's a good skill, but unless you have, you play around it, you build around it, then in my opinion, it's not as good as some other skills, right? But yeah, that being said, let's take a look at some of the reports in the game so we can see how well it performed. Now let's take a look at some of the reports with and without the Master Aegis skill, so you can decide yourself whether you want the skill or not. And here we have my main mods, which have, or sorry, do not have the Master Aegis skill. And you can see here it got beaten by Dino, right? He's a really strong Shadow mod, and only because I don't have Master Aegis skill, I believe he might have, or yeah, he have, and you can see that he's performing against me, right? And once I got the skill here, you can see that my mod become a little bit stronger. I removed the weakness aura because of the specialization of my Himiko. I don't really need that, and you can see here I perform a little bit better. Maybe here is a little bit better overview here, that I have the same build as the one at defense, right? I can see I was performing decently, and he also have Himiko, right? So when you have, for example, the Spring of Life in the March, if you have one of the, with the Master Aegis, and if you have some other skills as well, right? In this instance, I don't really need, because in my mind, I want to burst damage with my double tank as fast as possible. Of course, you wanna have, like, for example, the malice here if you want. And one of the good thing here, you can see here with Sasa, our whale in the server, I believe he don't have that skill, but he has malice, right? It definitely helps out against my March, because now I crit way less and do way less damage. So that's a factor as well. You can see his go, his March right here. He is not using the, what's it called, the Master Aegis, because he basically, his March, he don't want to be like a tanky March, he want to be like a burst March, right? And it definitely helped out with him a lot. And you can see, I usually my main March do way less damage than this. So yes, it's only 38 seconds, but without Master Aegis for this instance, it will probably go even faster, right? So it definitely helped out a little bit. Its damage is not that high. I mean, like, it's high compared to general because it's 61 million, right? But normally that would be around 70 million, right? So you can see a little bit the difference here with the Master Aegis. Although, does it help much in general? I believe not, but it's a good skill to have in case, like, for the future, right? So this is my build for my main March at the moment. I was trying something around, and this one is one of the better ones that I've got good result from as well. So yeah, that's basically it for this video and Master Aegis. If you really want it, I think it's a good skill if you are fighting, like, in general, right? And not the whales, you're gonna see Master Aegis performing way better, right? But if you're fighting like Super Whale, Mega Whales, like I fought Skull, I will fight like Sasa and some other matches, this one will perform not so well, right? Decent, I would say decent. But if you fight against, like, let's say, free-to-play players, the casual spenders, this one will perform very well. So yeah, that's my opinion about it and my idea behind it. Thanks you guys for watching. See you guys in the next video.